Welcome to week 3, everybody. I want to show you what we're going to be doing this week and how it fits into our goals, and that is getting you a job. Week 3 is interesting because you've already picked out your templates or your themes or have a concept of your homepage. This right here is the order in which we'll go through things. I want to talk about code pens. There's another interview question, some code. The templates and ideas for the portfolio will come through feedback on your submissions for homework this week. But a lot of this things that we're doing this week are about interview questions and Ajax reviews. So if I go back to Module 3, there is the answer to our FizzBuzz question. So this is from an interview question from last week, a very common problem. And here I'll show you the logic of working through it. And I ended up doing it in both PHP and JavaScript, but this is honestly the most common question asked in interviews for developers. So if I go back to modules, we're going to go to the other interview question, which was at the bottom of week 2's questions, which is the sorting numbers in JavaScript answer. So I've given you both an ES15 and an ES6, an older version of JavaScript and a newer version with the arrow syntax. So our goals are to, this week, which we'll talk about in a second, is to get you your code pens with as many things as possible in them to show that you have experience or that you're thinking introspectively about the languages that you're learning. So if we go back to week 3 here, I have a code that's simple Ajax. It's get JSON with jQuery. And I have a video right below it. So this is the video, this is the Ajax code. I have something similar with the zip code populator. So basically the user types in their zip code and then it runs in and it outputs city and state. So these are really good talking points. Please watch both videos. I have an article on Ajax and CodePen because Ajax is an interesting thing, and when you put it in your CodePen, you have to set CodePen to allow Ajax. So there's a few other articles in here. Don't think it using CodePen with APIs articles because the zip code, the idea is you want the zip code to be inside your CodePens. After that, we'll get back to branding yourself. So there's a good article about Web Designer business cards. I have a CodePen here of someone who has form validation and how he did it. And I show this because this is another developer and it shows you what they're doing. So if you take a look at what they're doing, you'll find that this is not as dynamic as yours. You see how there's document get element by ID, and that means they have to have the same ID when they're validating code. So you were looping around the DOM in your homework. That's what you do. And that means it's more maintainable, more sustainable, and more friendly for additions and subtractions in the HTML. This person is looking at this, and he's got mix-ins, which is part of Sass, which we'll get into. But this part of his is not nearly as dynamic as yours, and that's why this is posted. So we go back to week 3. You'll see 3 questions to be ready for. And why are you on the job market? Why are you interested in this role? And what would you do in your first week on the job? So these things are usually filter questions that a human resources representative would ask you. And I want you to start thinking about that. Just think about this every time you go through this process. Those 3 questions are the ones to be ready for. Now let's go back. And these are interview questions for a programmer. And the only reason Canvas has a problem with this is because of the HTTPS, the prefix. But things like this: what is the first programming language you learned? What do you enjoy? These are very open-ended, and that's one of the reasons I'm kind of giving you code examples. What's the hardest thing about working as a computer programmer? Favorite language? Why? Best project you ever did? Most recent language? Skills and personality? Very open-ended. But that's from Indeed, and I trust it. I think it's quite good. And as a matter of fact, I've talked to many students who have said that was accurate. So that's another open-ended human resources interview. Now, after this, you've got, if you have to ask how expensive I am, you can afford me. I throw this in because I realize some of you want to freelance when you get out of here, and one of the most common question is, what do I charge? So take a look at this, and you can ask me separately what I charge. Ask me privately, and I'll send it. I'm not going to say it on YouTube, but you should definitely read this about freelancing. It's a big deal, and you can see that most people are going to Guru, Stack Exchange, or TopTal for top talent. That is the link for that. And if we go to modules again, go to week 3. Don't want to make you dizzy with how much I'm showing you, but we're on to this week's assignment. And this week's assignment is to get all of your assets together. That's designs, any code you've done, any homework assignment at any point. You'll be surprised how taking assignments from WebD 170 and just putting them in CodePens but upgrading them to ES6 will help you build a case for yourself. I think most of the students I meet have a little bit of apprehension because they don't think they're that experienced. But the more CodePens you have, it shows experience. It proves it. Okay. So anyway, if you do have hesitancy about that, just don't be afraid to ask. Just send me an email. How do I deal with this question? They want 3 years of experience. How do I deal with that question? Anyway, that is the what we have for this week. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.